Good evening and welcome to iBanker News tonight on this very snowy and cold Monday, January 26, 2026. This is our second ever in-depth report, a continuation on Friday's report on global silver supply and why its fair price should be $3,111 per ounce. If you missed our first report from Friday, January 23rd, 2026, please be sure and view it after the conclusion of this report. First, some housekeeping. We were astounded, overwhelmed, and extremely grateful at our outpouring of positive support for our first report. Nearly 16,000 views, 1,000 likes, 200 comments, and 800 subscribers at the time of this taping. We are very humbled, thankful, and hope to continue generating reports worthy of your time and attention. Addressing a few of the main themes from the comments, and yes, we read them all. First theme, why do I say silver is worth $3,111 per ounce? Again, let me stress, this is what the fair price of silver should already be today. On a long enough timeline, all values regress towards the mean. That was the subject of Friday's report, but a common thread in the comments was when that day would come where spot prices would reflect the same. Let me put it like this. Ever been in a pool where a kid is trying to hold a ball underwater, and no matter how hard that kid tries to hold it there, sooner or later, the ball just pops out? It comes shooting up? That ball shooting up is physics and nature in action. Suppression can only last so long before equilibrium is restored. Silver is that ball. We know what's suppressing it. The rig is getting tougher. The People's Bank of China and the Shanghai Gold Exchange, they say hi. A quick example, and I highly encourage you to look these facts up yourself. They're readily accessible. The Federal Reserve that sets our money supply today was passed into law in 1913. Its evil twin sister, the 16th Amendment, that allowed for the creation and nearly immediate passage of the Revenue Act of 1913, made permanent income tax a thing that we middle-class Americans have so enjoyed funding every year since. 1913 screwed us all from a purchasing power standpoint. Inflation followed, and guess where we are today? I love ratios, and you should too. Guess what the average house of the cost of a house was in 1913? Well, if you said $3,000, then you would be right. Guess what the average home costs today? Well, it depends on the source, but the median is right around $450,000 as of 2025. In other words, one home today is worth 150 homes from 1913. That equates to your 100% 1913 purchasing power being inflated to 2/3 of 1%, not even a single percent. In real terms, that means one 1913 ounce of silver at the same ratio should buy you 150 ounces today. Given a 1913 silver ounce is worth exactly $1, guess how much 150 ounces of silver would cost you today? If your Jeopardy answer was, what is $15,000, Alex? Then you just won the daily double. I'm not sure my fair price analysis of $3,111 was high enough. More to come on this. Second theme, my production quality needs work. I wholeheartedly agree. This is not my job. In fact, it's barely a hobby. I am just some guy talking to an $80 Walmart Black Friday special camera, and the ring light was maybe another $20. So I'm just a one-man team with a $100 setup and a very newish YouTube account. Clearly, I edit nothing. Everything I post is in one take, and if this were a foreign language equivalent, this would be like my 34th language. I promise to get better with practice. I'll buy and figure out how to use a teleprompter. But in the meantime, I hope the information provided overcomes the lack of production skill and quality. I possess zero media training, and with very few exceptions, I loathe most professional journalists for the lazy order takers that they generally are. They've never worked on Wall Street. They've never figured out how the math works. They've never tried. Instead, they're simply order takers who listen to their overlords that pay their salaries, assign or plant stories pushing the propaganda favoring the wrong side of the trade, which you hardly are encouraged to take, and they suppress reporting on useful news that would lead you towards taking the money-making side of the trade. In other words, I hope this channel will one day have more of a Pelosi effect than a inverse Kramer tracker effect. Third theme. Am I reading somebody else's script, or did I write it myself? Well, I wouldn't read anybody else's script for anything. That'll never happen. Kids can copy my homework, but I don't trust them enough to copy theirs. I'll always do my own research. I'll always speak my own words, much like an actor doing their own stunts. But in this case, I really do my own research, and I really write my own words, and always will. Fourth theme. What are my credentials? All right. Well, first, please understand that this is a zero-grift channel. Unlike nearly everybody else on the internet who views their audience as a herd to milk, I have no such ambitions. Truth compels me to help all those that I can. And like most who I imagine my audience to be, I'm a modern-day wage slave. A very well-paid one, but a wage slave all the same. Please understand that the zero-sum game that we are all born into is to turn wages into assets or die broke. Why else do you think our overlords push such blatantly materialistic, non-asset desires upon us? You don't need the Lambo. About my background, I grew up on a farm in Illinois. I learned hard work. I impressed academically. I interned in Washington, D.C. for my local congressman. I graduated from Harvard in 1998, for better or worse. I started my career at Accenture, and in 2006 was hired away to be a middle market M&A investment banker, a field where I still am employed and enjoy today, and which has paid me far beyond what 10-year-old me's wildest possible expectations were and could have been. But I remember where I'm from. And if my reports help anybody else escape the tyranny that comes from being a fellow wage slave, then I'm right with God, and that's enough for me. Please keep your money. To sum it up, my credentials are to present news through the lens of somebody professionally trained for decades to understand asset classes, order books, positioning, and all the math behind everything. In other words, my BS detector is finely tuned, and all news I present is filtered through that detector. Since I could not find a lot of truth in searches, I figured I could either keep what I know to myself and perpetuate the problem others like me encounter, or I could be part of the solution. I hope to earn your trust and continued viewership. If I don't, please let me know who is presenting pure truth so I can get back to my day job and send you and everyone else their way. Until then, the themes we will be developing in the coming days include, but are not limited to, number 1, rock beats paper, why the SGE or Shanghai Gold Exchange is greater than COMEX plus the LBMA. 2, gold is money, everything else is just credit, the Bitcoin liquidity trap. 3, it's a big club and we are in it. Serfs say what? 4, James Bond, Ben Graham, and Jesse Livermore walk into a bar. One walks out. Guess who? 5, the Great Three-Punch Knockout, 1873, 1913, 1933, still woozy. Please comment on which you would like to see first, or any others which you would like to see developed. Thank you again for watching all the way to the end. Please like, share, and subscribe if we have earned it, or comment what we can do better next time. Teleprompter's coming. In the meantime, stay warm and stay safe.